Welcome to Maitland in the Hunter region, a beautiful regional New South Wales, a popular holiday makers hotspot with everything from outdoor family activities to quaint villages and luxury wineries with gorgeous local produce, and it just happens to be the ideal location for round 4 of our Penrite Pro MX Championship presented by AMX Superstores. Hi, I'm Kate Peck, and with me is 11-time national motocross champion Lee Hogan. Hogs, it's really nice to leave those gumboots at home for a sunny, hard-packed track.
Yeah, well, hasn't it been a wet and soggy start to this season, that's for sure. But we're here at Maitland finally. We've got some great weather, fantastic track preparation, phenomenal.
Now let's talk about MX1, Jed Beaton on the Boost Mobile Honda. Really great ride in pretty treacherous technical conditions for him to take the championship lead, but he really didn't seem too fazed by all the mayhem.
Yeah, look, Jed made that terrible track look like it was dry. He could pick and choose wherever he wanted to go around the track. So smooth and flowing. It was a pleasure to watch.
Now, Aaron Tanti, CDR Yamaha Monster Energies. Aaron Tanti, it was a pretty tough day at the office for him. He came into the round with the red plate, but was relegated back to 6th in the championship as he left.
Yeah, look, he was riding well. Aaron Tanti was sneaking around the track, not too bad whatsoever. Unfortunately for him, he was one of many riders who had a mechanical DNF on the day. So whenever that happens, very bad for the points, obviously.
And in MX2, Brodie Connolly on the Honda. He just took all the mud and mayhem into his stride to take the round win.
He sure did, very similar to Jed Beaton in the MX1 category. He made a very wet and muddy track look super dry. He could go wherever he wanted. Let's not forget, he's a Kiwi. They love that stuff.
And on the KTM, Nathan Crawford, it's been a real up and down season for him. Moto 1, there was the mechanical DNF, but he rebounded in Moto 2 to take that win.
Well, 2023 really has been a season of high and lows for Nathan Crawford. He's had the highest of highs, he's won, and when he has, it's been spectacular. But he's had some point deficits, getting taken points off him, of course, from round 1. He's also had a mechanical DNF, so he needs to try to find some kind of form, and you've got to wonder how mentally strong he is. He seems to still be in a good frame of mind. Let's hope we see more.
And finally, in MX3, Byron Dennis on the gas brings home the bacon and takes the championship lead.
He sure does. MX3, it's such an exciting class. It has the closest battles, but this year for 2023, we haven't seen one particular rider that just keeps stringing together win after win. Everyone's sort of up and down a little bit, but Byron Dennis is the one. He's got the red plate and he's looking the best at the moment. Can he keep it? We'll have to wait and see.
All right, well, let's take a look at the Michelin track preview with Moto Mad expert commentator Danny Ham.
Welcome to this week's Michelin track preview here at Maitland. We get a chance this week to head out onto the track and just take a quick glance at how rough and tricky this track is becoming before the pros get out there and show us how it's really done. Landing off the finish line, we move into a S-bend that is traditionally an inside-to-inside corner, but for this round, it has a brand new split lane, which is going to even things up quite a lot across the mechanics area and over this jump, and already you can see the ruts have started to form. And also, look at those shadows. It is very difficult to see just how deep and rough all of these corners are becoming. Down into what is the second turn off the start line, we again find a whole bunch of ruts. You really have to be on your game to know exactly which rut you want to hit. Through a very slippery, hard-packed part of the track and into this long sweeping right-hander before we hit a couple of our big jumps. Now, this is one circuit of a couple that we'll see some proper hard-packed surfaces for this series. Down this very long, very fast straight and into this right-hander with this jump up the inside to try and even things out. Just bouncing through these corners into a left-hander here that has 5 or 6 ruts formed up as I ride it. And we are lucky this week to finally get a track that has formed up a bit, so we get a good idea just exactly to see what these guys are going to be in for. Through another split section, across this right and into the long roller section. Now, the riders don't have much time to get any momentum into these, so it becomes very difficult, and especially if you're feeling the arms just like I am right here, it is very hard to get through. Up and over this tabletop, again, long, fast right-hander. The sand here, very shallow, but look at that line just to the outside there, very fast. If you can utilize that, you're going to have a massive advantage. And these ruts just aren't forming a nice, perfect arc. There is 3 or 4 stages through that last turn where you need to make those corners. Down towards the finish line, a little kick off this, and you have completed a lap here at Maitland.
Well, what a great look at the track there by Danny Ham. But here, drop of the gate. Moto 1 of the Thor MX-1 from yesterday, and we see not the best of starts there from Regan Duffy, number 72 on the Gas, getting ever so slightly swallowed up by the group. But Danny, what a race it was by Dean Ferris.
I was trying to get an idea of where Ferris was just then, and I couldn't see him anywhere, but he was back.
Well, he came through, and it was so impressive. He did it the hard way. Nice little wave to the crowd. And it was all about the number 111 Yamaha machine. Let's throw down to Dean Ferris with Kate Peck.
Dean Ferris, P1, you were on a hard charge there. Such important championship points.
Yeah, it was. I got a pretty shocking start, and I was back in P7, and it was all going on in the first lap. And I got into my groove, and probably 5 laps in, I started, dropping my lap times, and I caught the leaders. So, got in the lead with like 5 laps to go, and kind of rode it home from there. But man, my bike was working awesome. I want to thank Moose for doing my suspension. We've had a good time this off season. Bike's working awesome. We're Yamaha 1, 2, 3. Something pretty special today. I'm Yamaha through and through. I bleed blue, and this is a good day for us.
Thanks, Dean. Good luck in the next moto.
Thank you.
Well, that was a great ride by Dean. Closed up those points. As you can see on screen, Jed Beaton leading it still in front of Ferris, Gibbs, Tanti and Harwood. The big losers, Clout and also Tanti in those points.
Yeah, unfortunately, those boys were very well up at the head of the pack. But I tell you what, with the championship points, they're all trying to close in on Jed Beaton. Only 5 points now, the gap between first and second.
But Yamaha so strong yesterday, and they did claw back some points, of course. What I mentioned was in regards to the round previous. So those boys strong on track. But as we take a look at the Thor MX-1 Moto 2 lineup, Kyle Webster, Jed Beaton fastest out there earlier on. Tanti, Cloud, there's so many top riders there.
Yeah, very impressive qualifying from the Honda boys, but when racing came, it was a sea of blue. Can the Honda boys turn it around? We're going to have to wait and see. Thor MX-1 Moto number 2. They are lined up on the grid, the metal mesh starting grids. This is where the action at. Watch for the drop of the gate. Good jump out of the gate by Kirk Gibbs, but it's one of the Yamaha boys. Is that Ferris?
It looks like Ferris. No, I'm going to say it's a CDR out front, is it?
No,
it's Ferris. You're right. Well done, Lee. But there is a Gibbs there in second place. Clout around the outside. Good start by Metcalf.
Metcalf there also. Yep. He got a good start yesterday as well, Danny Ham. So the likely candidates up there. And also have a look at Gibbs trying to go around the outside of Dean Ferris in the early stages here of Moto 2. Whoa. How many bikes can we have in the air at one time?
Yeah, sharing the same airspace. It's incredible to see. I saw the Honda riders back there in 5th and 6th as we look through here at the 100% Whole Shot Award course going to Dean Ferris, but already CDR Yamaha up the inside of Tanti, the number 1 machine, coming out of here. Can he hold down that second position? And certainly he does.
What a push from Aaron Tanti in these early stages of Moto 2. A fantastic lap for that first lap. Can he make the move on Dean Ferris here? He is all over the back.
And Clout coming through as well past Gibbs. Tanti fast. He was so good yesterday, but Ferris was able to run him down just on the outside there. Jed beat one of the fastest in the pole shootout that we saw earlier on. He has climbed up 3 positions on this opening lap. So a different Honda rider that we are seeing right now compared to yesterday. Did get a chance to talk to Yuriv Konski. Lots of changes made overnight, and it is showing right now with these boys' form.
Yeah, Jed looked exceptionally uncomfortable yesterday. Not so much the case for Kyle Webster, who was right up there in 3rd place, and at one stage looked to be closing on the lead trio. However, had a little bit of a mishap, a bit of an excursion off track, and relegated himself back a couple of positions. But the fight continues at the head of the pack, and what Tanti does not want to happen is for Ferris to get into his groove.
This is a good position for Tanti at the moment. Yesterday, out early up the front and then had them closing down towards the end of the moto. Right now, he is doing all the pressure onto our race leader. I love that shot across the top there as we go into this right-hand turn through the easy lift right. Tanti, slight mistake there by Ferris, but Tanti just learning and reading all the things that Ferris is doing up front.
Now, Danny, we really need to give props to the Maitland District Motorcycle Club for their track preparation. Yes, they've had weather on their hand, but they've just done such a fantastic job here. Have a look at the ruts, the passing opportunities, but you can race on it. It's so good to see.
Nice run through there for Tanti on the #1 machine. That rear wheel barely coming off the ground through the whoops. Both of these bikes look to be tracking very well. And it's a tricky surface at the moment, Lee. From when I rode yesterday, it looks like it's fairly straightforward basic, but coming into these corners, it's very twitchy under the braking bumps. So we go back a few more places. Cole Webster there behind Kirk Gibbs. Webster, of course, was the fastest in the pole shootout earlier on. These guys here just need to turn down some laps and start to get into it. But we are early days in this moto.
Coming into the left-hander, the first of the chicanes, the AMX Superstore's left-hander, in completely opposite lines for the two Yamaha boys at the head of the pack. Ferris continues to lead from Tanti. Now, a welcome return to form, I will say, yesterday from Luke Clout, who once again finds himself up in the top 3.
Good to see Clout up there. These are the conditions that I know Clout loves. He's done a lot of laps around here, but man, on these particular bikes, with the surface that we've got, the amount of power that they've got. But you can see just in that corner how much roost is still coming up. There is areas on the track that's offering a lot of traction, and then you get to the hard packed surfaces where these guys in particular really have to be careful on that throttle.
Out of Max's right-hander, then we still see Jed Beaton in there, followed by Kirk Gibbs and Kyle Webster. So all of these riders, they're trying to find their form and get into some kind of a groove, because 25 minutes plus a lap around this track. We saw yesterday that the lead pack just kept edging away, and if you got a bit of arm pump or you lost your groove, by the end of the race, you're almost half a lap behind.
Just a moment on screen, of course, was Todd Waters, the 47 machine, and the 153 of Hamish Harwood also in there. Oh, look at that, double-double almost by Ferris. That is, that's dangerous for everyone else when they can start feeling that good up on, that's 215. Yeah, that's Liam Jackson, who had a great round the last time. Unfortunate for him, has gone down. That's an awkward spot. That's on those tabletops.
Yeah, that's it's an interesting part to go down on the track. And what we thought was a little bit of a gap starting to evolve from Ferris back to Tanti. Tanti seems to have found the form. We sort of see a little bit of a rubber band effect at the moment, where different parts of the track, Ferris will stretch out ever so slightly, and then Tanti back once again. What have you got for us, Danny? I know you've found something.
Yeah, just looking at those lap times again. So 2 laps in a row. Ferris has clocked up the fastest lap of the race, bettering it this time around, but also matching it is Aaron Tanti and Luke Clout. 46.2 compared to a 46.5, 46.7 for the top 3 riders. So this is qualifying times that these guys are doing at the moment.
And we can see Jed Beaton still kind of hanging in there, but just ever so slightly dropping off the back. He needs to be careful he doesn't come under the clutches of Kirk Gibbs, who also has Kyle Webster in tow. Coming out of Pirelli corner here, Webster looks like he is on the charge.
Look at this, Tanti is all over the back. Is this the most confident we've seen Tanti this year so far? We've seen him up the front, of course, but right now, the confidence in him, you can see with the riding, he looks in complete control at the moment, sitting in there, running the same pace as Dean Ferris up front.
And this is the kind of pressure to keep on the back of Ferris that will prevent him from getting into that kind of a rhythm that we know so dangerous is Ferris when that happens.
Now, Ferris came from a little way back yesterday in Moto #1 and was able to work his way through. However, this time, the CDR boys have an answer for that speed, although that small mistake there has opened up a gap.
That was a little mistake there, that front wheel almost going over the top there for Tanti. Just to tell our viewers at home, it was Tanti who was leading that race yesterday before he knifed that front end just as he was coming across the start straight into that left-hander. A very difficult rut. Got a little bit of a kick sideways in the braking zone coming in, knifed the front, and a pretty big high side. Was very lucky not to bend the bike up at all.
18 minutes left in this moto as they go into the Yamaha Blue Crew right turn. The Yamahas all up front in this one, looking very good. Those bikes tracking perfectly straight at the moment. As we see Luke Clout in third place across the mechanics area. And see the back wheel just light up then, Lee. As we said, these guys certainly need to keep an eye on that throttle position as they come across these surfaces. There is Beaton on the 14. Gibbs still holding down there, and where has Webster gone?
Drop back a position behind Todd Waters. Now, we saw yesterday when we were out there on the track watching, Danny, that Todd Waters, his back wheel got completely caught up with bunting and essentially had to go back into the pit area and lost a lap or two. So devastating for his points chase when he was right up in the pointy end of the field.
So Waters has moved himself forwards. Look at those lap times of 147.8, so not matching the lead lap, but still got some good pace going as he's moved in front of Kyle Webster now. 47 Machine Husky rider does look very comfortable and is starting to close in just a little bit on Kirk Gibbs there, the KTM rider. And we did see huge things out of Kyle Webster yesterday, so maybe early on in this one, just tightened up a fraction, just getting into that groove of this track. And it's one of those tracks at the moment, it is so fast that you could easily tighten up if you weren't feeling 100% comfortable.
The track a little bit different today, a little bit moisture in it, a little bit deeper, shall we say. Certainly not deep in the slightest, but yesterday we actually had a little bit of dust coming up, some blue groove. You could see the tyre marks being left on the hard pack sections of the track. And to me, it's not the kind of track you would expect Webster to specialise in or to go well in. However, he was flying.
Absolutely flying. So we'll keep an eye on that and his positions as we continue on with this moto. And I am still super impressed with the way Tanti is maintaining that position. Although he dropped back just a little bit a second ago, he's closed it back in. Watch him jump to the left here.
Keeping in that nice dirt.
Yep,
just
right there.
To that left-hand side there. So in the early stages of the race, with thanks to the New South Wales government for their support of this event, we find ourselves with 15 minutes plus a lap to go in the MX1 Moto number 2, thanks to Thor. Welcome back to the Penrite Oils Pro MX Championships, brought to you by AMX Superstores.
Every single rider, the top 7 are in the 148s, and only actually 0.5 of a second between them in their lap time. So this is the part of the race, 5 minutes to go. They all know it's go time, and this is what we're seeing right now out of all of them, but 2.2 seconds in this last lap.
Yeah, that's the biggest gap that we've seen between first and second place. So Tanti, if he wants any chance of being able to make that pass on Dean Ferris in his closing stages of this Moto number 2 of the MX1, he needs to stay with him. He just needs to put in one of those laps, get down to maybe not a 146, but possibly into a 147. Just try to bring back some of that time.
Blue flags waving for the lapped riders, and this is where it's really key through this part of the circuit. If you get caught up behind the lapped riders in amongst this part, then you're really going to be disadvantaged as the riders head down towards the mechanics area. Good overhead shot just showing exactly how many different lines we do have out there at the moment. But essentially this is a very hard packed track, and it's great to see that we do have another one of these on the circuit. We've been without for quite some time, or something to this kind of level of hard pack, and it's really testing out some of these riders.
Closing stages of the race here, 3 minutes plus a lap to go, and another big thank you to the New South Wales government and of course the Hunter region here. Danny, you're a local yourself. There's so many big names that have come up through this region here. Yourself, your arch nemesis, Craig Anderson, of course. Chad Reed, we've got a couple of absolute gun road races. The Stauffer boys, Casey Stoner, the list goes on. Tell us a little bit about this region and growing up, and what's in the water? How do you guys do it?
I think it was just the fact we've got so many good locations around here over our time of racing. Good bunch of riders that all rode together, dragged each other along, and just that competition between each other really made for some top races in this area. But no doubt there's been a lot of good talent come out of here.
And a huge thank you to the local mayor, Councillor Philip Penfold, for coming along to the event and supporting Pro MX as we see Kyle Webster trying his best to go around the outside of Todd Waters. And Todd trying a different line here. This was one of his favourite corners on the track. And right from the get-go, I was thinking, well, potentially not the best call there, but sometimes when you're under pressure from a charging Kyle Webster.
Yeah, it was something he needed to do, but unfortunately hasn't worked out. Have a look here. Waters to the inside. He gets a bit of a wheel tuck about halfway through. Just misreads this part right here. Oh, actually, the whole bike dove in. He might have grabbed a foot peg on the inside.
You look, it was an interesting shape to that inside rut. It had two tight points. It had a little bit of a tight point, then opened up, and then a hook in the exit, which was soft and muddy. And I believe that that's the first time he's taken that inside line.
And that was what we were saying before when we start getting into lapped riders. These riders are forced to use some lines that they're not so much used to or haven't used in this whole race. Once you find that nice, comfortable line, you tend to just continue to ride that. You know exactly what you're faced with. And especially when the ruts are very tricky like they are here today, you do seem to fall into that same one line a lot of the time.
Danny, the time says still 2.0. To me, it looks a little bit bigger gap than 2.0 now as Dean Ferris starts to put the nail in the coffin for Aaron Tanti here in Moto 2. What a weekend it is shaping up to be for Dean Ferris and the 111 machine.
Last lap around, Tanti was faster than Ferris, but it was only by 0.2, and when you're 2 seconds back like that, that's not enough. Hey, they're going to get an extra lap. Their time's not going to expire before they get there this time. So 2 more laps to go for these riders. Ferris will be coming up to the finish line right now with about 10 seconds to go. So he will have 2 more laps ahead of him.
Hamish Harwood back in 7th place, number 153 machine, but Gibbs has dropped back to 8th, Danny, and then Brett Metcalf back in 9th place, just inside the top 10. So a little bit of work to do in that final moto of the day for Brett Metcalf and Kurt Gibbs, but very impressive. Todd Waters, I think 6th place doesn't quite show just how good he's ridden in this race.
These are the 2 KTM riders you were speaking of just moments ago. Yeah, as we look on the left there, Aaron Tanti, 3.4 seconds now down as Dean Ferris knocks down another 1:48 lap time compared to 1:49's beaten the only other rider on the 48s.
So Danny, interesting now, says 4.2 seconds back to Tanti, but only 1.4 seconds back to Clout. So do we have a little battle going on in this final lap and a half of the race here between the 2 CDR Yamaha Monster Energy boys?
We'll keep an eye on that as these 2 KTM riders still haven't sorted out this. Oh, the front wheel then of Hamish Harwood just sliding out all over the place as he landed off that big step down drop off and into these big tabletops again. Gibbs looks like he's got another fire in the belly at the moment, fighting back quite hard up to the inside. It's a good option there, but it's just that jump in the start of it really takes out that opportunity to get up and make that pass through that corner.
It really is a bit of an optical illusion where you see both riders come hooking in and you're like, oh, the rider on the inside certainly has the pass made, but no, not the case. And like I just mentioned, Danny, yes, we do. Luke Clout sniffs the blood in the water here, and he is all over the back of the number 1 machine, our reigning MX1 champion, Aaron Tanti, and stayed so low over that jump.
Clout is on a charge right now. 2 seconds difference in the last lap time. Tanti is going to need to step it up. He looks a bit tight at the moment, actually, Lee.
He does. He looks like he's tightened up, and there's nothing quite like having your teammate all over the back of you to make you tighten up even more. And Luke Clout has the fire in the belly, and it's so good to see him back with this kind of intensity.
So a massive lead has developed for Dean Ferris, of course, the 111 machine, 4.1 seconds. But this here is the real battle at the moment. If I was to pick between the 2, I would say Clout is going to get this pass made. However, we know how smart a rider Tanti is, and right now he's managing to hold on. But it's going to be tough for him as they go through this last half a lap.
Let's not forget, we're on the last lap here, and for someone like Aaron Tanti, it's going to take a mistake from him for Clout to get past, I believe, because he's got such a big heart, does Tanti, and he's just not going to roll over.
No, absolutely, he won't roll over. but with the way it looked like he was tightening up, that then starts to bring in that chance of a mistake that you spoke of. So right now he's doing a good job. Clout definitely closed in there and is looking strong, but Tanti is managing to hold on right now with only a couple more turns to go.
Yeah, that corner, this left-hander out of Thor turn, it seems to be a little bit of a, shall we say, a corner that's not Tanti's favourite on the track as they come in. That's allowed Luke Clout to get back onto the rear end of his teammate, but it's been all about the 111 machine, Dean Ferris, the Brisbane Yamaha Motorcycles rider, and he's about to take 2 wins.
Have a look in the background, sorry. Clouds.
Wow.
Wow.
What
Off-screen.
a move, and it all set up from that back part of the track, and we didn't get to see it, but what a move, and I believe it may have happened from that sweeping last right-hander. The KTM boys still battling right the way down to the end. Harwood versus Gibbs. Oh, that KTM stepped out a little bit sideways for Kirk Gibbs.
Through to the finish line comes Harwood. So a great ride by Harwood. He comes across in 7th in front of Gibbs. And those black clouds are still right there. They're getting a little bit closer. Hopefully they stay away, but what a fantastic ride by Dean Ferris, picking up yet another win.
He doesn't look surprised. He expects this now. Fantastic win, making it 2 wins from 2 starts. He did it this time with a whole shot. Yesterday, he had to do it the hard way with not the best start, Danny.
Thor MX1 Moto 2 results. Dean Ferris, Luke Clout, Aaron Tanti, Jed Beaton, Cole Webster, Todd Waters, Hamish Harwood, Kirk Gibbs, Brett Metcalf, and Jai Walker with a fantastic top 10 finish.
Levi Rogers there in 11th place. We got Luke Zielinski, Dylan Wood in 14th, Regan Duffy in the top 15.
Great to see Duffy back up there, and a lot of the top privateers getting themselves some very solid results in this race as well. Great to see the way this has panned out. It's really setting us up for the final moto of the day.
Nathan Brocktrop there in 31st place. Let's go down to Kate with our winner.
Dean Ferris, you took that whole shot and then you grabbed the lead and you just did not let go.
Yeah, that was pretty much what I was thinking. It was a close race. The other Yamaha boys were right on me today, so I just had to keep it real clean, and I knew they were on my heels. I just had to stay calm, and you know, I'm going to have to put in a lot of effort in the second moto as well, because they woke up for Firecracker. I think that went off in the CDR track and got them going. So yeah, Yamaha 1, 2, 3, I think that went again. Stoked for it, but huge thanks to everyone that's helping me out. Thanks Brett Kaminsky from Kaminsky Mining Service for getting on board and helping make this year possible.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Dean. Good luck in the next one.
Thank you.
Now, Danny, just been given word that Kyle Webster will not be joining us here for the final race due to an arm injury from the first motos. We just saw a quick little look there of our big screen. How cool is it to have that on hand at a national event? Let's take a look at the Thor lineup. MX1 Moto 3. Kyle Webster will not be joining us. We just found out Jed Beaton, Aaron Tanti, Luke Clout, Kirk Gibbs.
Ferris, Harwood, Todd Waters is the only 8 that shows on our screen, but there is plenty more big names out there. Purvis, Metcalf, Walker, as the gates are about to go down for the final time today here in Maitland. Not the best of jumps for Cloud on the outside. However, he's got a good run in the corner. Is that Meti? Up the inside, but
looks like a couple of the Yamaha boys. I think it's one of the CDR Yamaha boys. Luke Clout has held it on around the outside and managed to round up Dean Ferris. So this could be dangerous for the competition. Very wide in turn 2 there for Kirk Gibbs.
And Metcalf got caught up with a couple of riders. He actually looked like he possibly could have stalled it and had to get going again. But he has dropped back 3 or 4 places. There is Waters also with a good start to ride it down to the inside just a second ago. But what a start it is for Cloud. We said he didn't jump good, but certainly just kept holding it on around the outside, and it is clear to see with a 100% whole shot award going to Luke Cloud.
A great start. You could see, I just got to have a little bit of a chat with him there only moments before the drop of the gate, and you can hear in the tone of his voice and you can see it in his eyes. He is he's charged and ready to go. So let's hope that he can keep the battle up to the 111 machine of Dean Ferris, who looks to be on fire at the moment.
Clout crossing over to cover that line. Waters back there in fourth, not too far back either, but look at the front there. It looked like Ferris to the outside. Now switch back to the inside. These guys with the big horsepower bikes will be looking for that looser, drier dirt as Tanti is coming onto the back of Ferris as well. Oh, not far off making that inside work either.
It looked like a good line. It just, as it gets that last hook out of the corner, it really gets quite rough, doesn't it? And it's that deep that you can't get out of that line, unfortunately. Back to another one of the split sections.
Interesting line there for Clout. Can Tanti slingshot through the outside here? But no, it's a great run out of the corner for Ferris as he looks very wide there.
Yeah, exceptionally interesting line that almost could have cost him, but it's ended up not too bad. I think we're in the early stages of this race here where the riders are searching for some kind of line that's going to work wonders for them. And every now and then you'll make a bad call, but sometimes you'll just find a bit of gold.
If you can get that early on in the race, you're going to have a massive advantage. As we see the right foot coming off there for Ferris, just losing the balance ever so slightly through that corner as these wheels are fighting to find traction. I'm really impressed with Waters. He has bounced to the back wheel of these riders. There is Gibbs and Hamish Harwood. Oh, Harwood.
Wow, turning that thing
Dirty.
inside out.
Man, that was impressive. He is throwing it, and this could potentially make the pass. He is so close there. Up to the inside. Harwood. He's got the better line here. How will it play out, though, as they exit through Michelin and into the right-hander Alpine Star turn? Gibbs is still there.
Really quite even. This is
yeah.
very, very close stuff as they tip it into Thor left-hander.
Oh.
Both the KTMs coming together there, Harwood and Kirk Gibbs.
Someone had to stamp the authority somewhere there over 3 corners. That pass was going on for. As we move to the front again, Clout it is on the number 4 machine. Leads the way of this one. These riders now 2 laps into it are going to start knowing where these good lines are. Tanti's still right there as 2 Waters. Correct me if I'm wrong, is Harwood seems to have closed in a little bit. That's because he just set the fastest lap of the race with a 1:56.6.
Wow, Hamish Harwood absolutely on a flyer at the moment. A little bit of a kick sideways for Ferris there as he still tries to find his feet here in the early stages. Doesn't want to take too long because he's got that snarling number 1 plate not too far behind.
Yeah, interesting lines, isn't it, by Ferris? There's a lot of outside stuff there, searching for something that's a bit smoother, a little bit looser, trying to stay away from those hard-backed surfaces. But at that same time, it can leave you open and vulnerable to attacks.
And also trying a different line there on the step-up jump where you're veering to the left. He had a bit of a suspect line there a couple of laps ago. Just aggressively tipping it into the right-hander there was Aaron Tanti.
The inside goes Tanti. Oh, the foot coming off there as that bike dances around underneath him. Tanti still looking very comfortable at the moment. Now, all of these riders, they're being tested with the pressure that's being applied by all of them. Oh, did we see almost a potential pass there for outside Ferris?
All right, let's try to get tabs. He's obviously on the other side of the track. We'll find out in the next corner. You'd have to think, yes, I think he has made the pass. So Dean Ferris has made his way up to the head of the pack. Was that from a mistake from Luke Clout, who just had a quick look over his shoulder to see where his teammate was? And you know what? You know that Tanti does not want to allow Ferris, just like that, passes his teammate Luke Clout, relegating him back to 3rd place.
That was an interesting exchange, wasn't it? Clout being up the front the way he was, and sort of, it almost appears like he's backed off, just trying to loosen up a little bit at the moment. I mean, we don't know, but it just seemed too easy.
Have a look at the surge from Aaron Tanti. How will this right-hander play out? Look at the run out of the corner from Tanti. He has to back it down ever so slightly. This is the corner that bit him yesterday while he was leading. So the charge is on from Aaron Tanti.
Inside. You saw that as well.
I did.
He is right there.
2 riders abreast, and this is a high-speed part of the track as Tanti cuts back to the right. Can he set something up in Pirelli turn, the left-hander? They have to log into the same line there.
I think Tanti realises that he spent a lot of time behind Ferris applying that pressure in Moto 1. Ferris didn't falter that much. He needs to make this pass nice and early so that he can continue forward. If he doesn't, you're going to give that head of steam to Ferris. He continues just to ride out his race. Back wheel sliding up the ramp there for Tanti.
Yeah, well, look, Ferris is so difficult to pass once he gets into his rhythm and he's really comfortable. You can sit right on him and he very rarely makes a mistake. So I think this is smart from what we're seeing from Tanti, because he's trying to pounce before Ferris gets into his groove. And that's what we saw him trying so hard to do in the last race. It didn't pay off. However, you could clearly see that he was trying so hard to make it happen before Ferris found his groove. Looking in fine form at the moment, the #1 machine of Aaron Tanti. Set his sights on the back of Dean Ferris. And I'll tell you what, he's seen a fair bit of the back jersey of Dean Ferris over this weekend. But he has, in his own right, had a fair bit of leading races, mainly in race 1 yesterday. Championship points provisional, Dean Ferris 145, back to Jed Beaton 136. So handy little gap starting to build up in this championship points chase now from Ferris over Beaton. Tanti back there in 3rd place.
It's been a good round for Dean Ferris, hasn't it? Really picking up a lot of valuable points. And he will continue that as he goes through this left and to the right. Just smooth, just taking his time, picking up those lines, not rushing anything. It's very easy on a 450 in these conditions to make some mistakes and put yourself on the deck.
Then he stretched out that lead ever so slightly once again. And what he's done is he's found his lines that he's happy with. There might be 1 or 2 other lines around the track that might be a little bit better, but Ferris is locked into what he believes is some nice, good lines. And unless something dramatically changes, you won't really see him change up his lines too much at the moment, unless one of his lines deteriorates. And, you know, he's a fast thinker. He'll change on the move, but he's clearly comfortable with where he's going at the moment.
So 5 minutes to go in this race, and it's the same time as we saw in Moto #2 for these guys when they turned up the wick. Last lap around, 153.7, fastest of race done by Dean Ferris, and not to be outdone, a 154 neat by Aaron Tanti. Both of these riders fastest laps of the race, so they have turned it up right now. Have a look at this battle, though. Gibbs isn't given up yet either.
Back on. He has got the bit between his teeth. He has wound his way up onto the back of Jed Beaton here. Now, if there's anything that can bring on a little bit of arm pump, it's having someone all over the back of you, that's for sure.
This right here, that is arm pump development right there. As we see, watch for the body language of
still
Beaton.
Todd Waters right in there.
Yep. The aggressor certainly is Kirk Gibbs at the moment as they go down this straight. Almost got to the outside there, but ran out of room. Very wise move by Kirk Gibbs. It's allowed a little breathing room for Jed Beaton.
And we really are in that dying stage now of the race. 4 minutes and 10 seconds to go, plus a lap. So we've still got a handful of laps to go. Still well and truly enough time for these boys to mount another challenge onto the back of Jed Beaton.
Well, Tanti isn't done either as I look at those times once again. He just set the fastest lap of the race at a 153.6, where Ferris did a 154 the last time around. So close between both of these guys, but it just shows that Tanti is not done this fight just yet.
And it's such a pleasure to watch. We're just seeing an arm wrestle from a couple of superpowers in the sport at the moment. And who's going to come out on top? Will it be the finesse of Ferris or the hard charging of Aaron Tanti?
The clouds come over, have changed the colour of our vision just a little bit there. It looks a lot bluer and colder. Once that sun comes back out and blares onto this track, we'll get our true colours back. But there is the gap. Tanti is not letting... Oh, no, Tanti's gone down!
That's a very similar type thing to what we saw yesterday. Front end has gone in and put Tanti on the ground. Now, yes, he has. He's got up just in front of his teammate, Luke Cloud, but this has given an enormous gap to Dean Ferris, who will be mindful and well aware of the gap that he now has
Another
over the
mistake
two
right
boys.
there. Sorry, Tanti lost the front end on the outside there, right in front of Luke Clout. Clout will be seeing this. He'll know that Tanti is struggling just a little bit right now. Nothing to say that Tanti can't get back up and going again, find that momentum, because he was going so quick. But certainly it's a chink in the chain right there for Tanti. Unfortunately for him, he was so strong.
It's just the fight in the dog, you're going to call it, as far as Aaron Tanti goes. He's got so much determination, and it kills him to see Dean Ferris there in front of him. As we have a little bit of a look here. Watch the number 1 plate as he comes in. We'll see watch that very right part of the screen.
Looks like he front end
full
pushed
front
through,
flip.
something like that.
Yeah.
Just with the way he was lying there at the end. Of course, we didn't see the actual crash, but look at Clout. He is sniffing the blood in the water right now. Around the outside, he could get a pass made right here.
Wow, what a move, and some serious momentum from the number 4 machine, Luke Clout. And Tanti will have to remount another challenge, or he'll find himself back here in 3rd place come checkered flag. 1.5 minutes to go here, MX1 Moto 3.
It's going to be very close to see whether they actually have to do another lap or not. I think they've got 2 more laps in them here. Can Tanti turn this around? He has the time, but he's got to stay right on the back wheel there of Clout. Otherwise, Clout will have the momentum to close this one out.
So once again, the CDR Yamaha Monster Energy boys of Luke Clout and Aaron Tanti find themselves magnetised to each other out there on the track. Let's have a look here at the roundup around the outside of Clout. A beautiful line, kept that power on, a nice low line on the outside of the jump there. Still so slippery on the lander. The throttle control is super important here.
To me right now, it looks like Clout has this one. He looks strong. Tanti he's still got enough time to rebound here, but Clout just looks really good at the moment.
It's just plain and simply for Aaron Tanti, it's a break of rhythm for him. He was in a knockdown, drag-out brawl with his main nemesis, and he tried everything he could and ended up on the ground. And then you have to get back up, start your bike, get another challenge going. And sometimes it's so difficult in the dying stages of the race to try to get back into a rhythm. It really can be quite difficult sometimes.
Just going through that big long left-hander again, the front wheel of Tanti looked like it slipped out just a little bit, another tuck. So maybe he's having a little bit of troubles with the tyre selection that he has. Possibly a hard tyre might have been better. I'm only just throwing that out there. I don't know.
I'm going to say, I think he's just trying to find that rhythm once again that he had earlier on when he was just charging so hard. And you know what? Sometimes when your lines aren't coming together as well, only takes 1 or 2 lines, a little bit of a pump up as well. But wow, what a welcome return to form from Luke Clout. And let's hope that this is what we'll be seeing from here on out from the number 4, who knows how to win races, knows how to win championships. And like we said to him on the starting line, so many good memories for him here at Maitland, where he wrapped up a championship a couple of years ago.
Second last lap for these riders. Ferris, 13.1 seconds in the lead, is absolutely blitzed away from the rest of the field. Clout just doing everything he needs to do at the moment. Sits there in 2nd place, and he's stretched it out a little bit over Tanti in 3rd. Looking at those positions on the left, Beaton still holds down 4th. Waters, Gibbs back behind them, so that little charge that he had going on, something has held him up with that.
Not only is he behind those guys, he's 18 seconds back. So, you know, Todd Waters still just 2.7 seconds behind Jed Beaton. So still within striking range as we have about a lap and a half to go, but nonetheless a great rebound for Jed Beaton and the Boost Mobile factory Honda machine. Has not been the round that him and the team would have wanted here, but he still finds himself well and truly in the championship hunt.
Last lap board out for the 111 machine, Dean Ferris.
Out of Honda left-hander and heading towards the mechanics area. We'll get a nice little message from his pit board saying one more time, look over the left shoulder just to make sure he has no company, and no, you do not. It is clear sailing from here.
No mistakes for the last lap would be the goal. Little dab of the foot. Look at the back end slide into that edge of that rut there. Just shows how slippery even inside these ruts this surface is.
Tipping it into the Maxxis right-hander and heading towards the airtime section of the track. Nice little whip there and look out to the side. He knows it's celebration time. Into the easy lift, right-handed turn, and wow, the ruts and braking bumps that we get in this section of the track is just crazy. Nice little innovative far outside line there and into the split section for the final time around Michelin Corner.
Through the right here, no more lapped riders in front of him should become an issue. So this one should close out for the Triple One machine, who will extend that championship points lead. 3 race wins over this weekend. Again, another glance back. It's almost like he can't believe that everyone has disappeared behind him. He had so much pressure from Tanti early on.
Yeah, you know when you're just in that position, you hear those noises over your shoulder, you're just like, am I clear? Is everything cool? There's nothing worse than getting past on the last lap, that's for sure. Into the final corner around Penrite turn and makes his way towards the checkered flag. 3 wins from 3 starts and a no-legger to boot. What a weekend for Dean Ferris and the Brisbane Motorcycles Yamaha rider in fine form. Luke Clout will come through in an impressive second place with a look over the right shoulder likewise. And Tanti making his way through in 3rd.
Great ride by all of these guys.
Now it's time to celebrate. His wife comes in. High five there to Luke Clout. Definitely ecstatic times for these. So I'm going to say all 3 riders will be very impressed. I think Tanti will be the one out of all of them that was in the position to potentially make something happen. But it was always going to be Dean Ferris's weekend when you come out with a result like this. Very poised.
As we take a look at the Thor MX1 Moto number 3 results, of course, Dean Ferris was our winner. Luke Clout in 2nd, Aaron Tanti 3rd, Jet Beaton 4th, Waters holds on for 5th, Gibbs a long way back there in 6th. So something happened there in the last few laps. Harwood, Metcalf, Levi Rogers with a great result, and again, Jai Walker with another top 10.
Yeah, very impressive for Walker with a top 10. Likewise, Levi Rogers, Zachary Watson there in 11th, Dylan Wood, Regan Duffy in 14th, Joel Evans rounding out the top 15.
So there is so many stories out on the track, but the big one is Dean Ferris. Is anyone going to be able to claw in that raw speed, that strength that Ferris has as we move forwards into the next round?
Yeah, I think it's a tug of war when it comes to momentum, and you could see that between Ferris and Tanti. Tanti just did not want to let that happen. Let's go down to Kate.
Aaron Tanti, P3 for the round. Really strong ride today. It was devastating to see you go to lose that front end.
Yeah, crashed in 2 races this weekend when I was, one I was in the lead, and that second one I was right behind Dino. Felt good, and I was hoping to go for the win there. I was really pushing, and yeah, just unfortunately lost the balance in that rut, and it ended up being quite a big one. The bike flipped on me, and I got up as fast as I could, and just all my helmet and goggles were all bubbled, so it took me a minute to even get going again. It was hard to see. But happy to walk away here on the podium and gain some points back in the championship.
Yeah, okay, we'll see you in the next round.
Thank you.
All right, Luke Clout in P2 for the round. Luke, we know how tough it's been for the last few years. Must be quite a relief to get back to this position.
Yeah, it's been a long road for me. So do a bit of a hat swap. Like I said, it's been a long road for me. Yesterday was honestly the first laps I've led since I broke my leg in Mackay. So, I was definitely pumping up there yesterday, and I feel like I just kind of built throughout the day, started to ride a lot more smart, and, I was kind of second all weekend. Dean had us this weekend, but for me, I'm really happy with that to just chip away at this championship, get some good points back, and just keep building.
Yeah, great work.
Thank you.
And in P1, Dean Ferris, a truly incredible performance this weekend, so dominant. There was a lot of points to take this weekend, and you pretty much took them all. You are leading the championship. Congratulations.
Yeah, it was an amazing weekend. Won all 3 motos and capitalised on the points. We're in the championship lead now, so that's awesome. Just after one race, we got the red plate back, so that's awesome. Oh man, I'm having a good time. I love the YZ450. I just want to thank everyone. Brisbane Motorcycles, Yamaha, Scott, Fox, Motul, and Josh from JL McFadden Services. Thank you for coming on board and helping me this year.
So much blue. Everybody give it up for Dean Ferris in the round.
Woo! I want to thank my wife as well. Thank you, darling.
Then it's celebration time for Dean Ferris. 3 wins from 3 starts.
Fantastic effort. What a ride it was this weekend for him. As we look at the championship points, of course, Ferris absolutely stretching it out.
145 points for Dean Ferris. Jed Beaton, 136, still hanging there in second place. And Aaron Tanti, 119, back there in third.
Still super close between these guys. And just one bad round will change the whole ball.
Well, I think the big winner was Maitland, and what a fantastically prepared track we saw.
Great round here and some exceptional racing as well across all the classes. Cannot wait to move to our next rounds.
And also good to have the big screen. Fantastic addition. Well, make sure you join us May the 28th as we head to the historical Gillman Circuit just on the outskirts of Adelaide for round 4 of the Penrite Oils Pro MX Championships, brought to you by AMX Superstores, where hometown hero Brett Metcalf will be hoping for podium glory. We've also got rounds 5 and 6 of the Australian Off-Road Championships presented by MX Store and Yamaha at Edenhope in Victoria, close to the South Australian border, which will take place on July the 22nd and 23rd. And while you're at it, make sure you lock in round 4 of the MyBike Motorcycle Insurance Australian Superbike Championship presented by Motul as it heads next to Hidden Valley Raceway in Darwin, Northern Territory from the 16th to the 18th of June. Whether it's Pro MX, AORC or ASBK, get yourself to the track live and get tickets online. Well, Danny, what a day it was.
Cannot wait for the next rounds, Lee. Today is an exceptional experience with this motocross racing. It's going to be something else.
Well, what an incredible day of racing we've seen here at Maitland for round 4 of the Penrite Oils Pro MX Championship, brought to you by AMX Superstores. On behalf of Danny Ham, Kate Peck and myself, Lee Hogan, thanks for your company. The Pro MX gates will next drop on the 28th of May at the iconic Gillman Circuit in Adelaide, South Australia. So make sure you join us for all the action. Goodbye for now.